Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Yesterday, December 6th, 2017, on the Alex Jones radio program, he went on a rant about people who speak against Israel. And I'll play a small clip, and I'll leave the link so you can listen to his entire segment if you want to. The headline that says Alex Jones admits he's an Israeli shill, that's a facetious headline, meaning it's not serious. He didn't admit he's an Israeli shill. He said that in a mocking fashion while attacking people who speak against Israel. And what I want to show you is why he did this December 6th. Yesterday had a life lesson number of 28. Israel has gematria of 28. And remember, everything about the character Alex Jones is contrived by this code, which is a Jewish code predominantly, and a code used by the media, which Alex Jones is a part of. He plays the controlled opposition, as if he's some, counter message to what's in the media, even though ultimately what he is the exact same thing that the media is. Casting fear, false information, confusion. He's a radio personality, and if you flip through the radio stations of this nation, pretty much everyone's lying, saying that there's this liberal media out there. Understand, there is no such thing as liberalism. There is nothing liberal about anything. The right runs this world. The New World Order is the right. The right is military. Military runs all. Anyway, about this code, Alex Jones, supposedly born February 11th in 74. Look at his full name, Alexander Emmerich Jones. Talked about this before. His full name using the alphabetic order sums to 211. His birthday is February 11th. 211's the 47th prime. He's defending Israel. What year was Israel established? Yes, it was established in 47 by the United Nations with a 33-member vote in favor on November 29th, 1947. That was the original recognition of Israel. There's so many people in the media whose birthday is the same as their name. And for just another classic example, let's look at Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper's birthday, June 3rd, 67. June 3rd. The name Anderson, 36. The name Cooper, 36. 6/3 birthday, not coincidental. And the same people who own CNN are the same people who own InfoWars, Turner. Now look, going back to Alex Jones, his TV show, or his radio show, is called InfoWars. And now it sort of is a TV show. It's broadcast on the internet. But look at this. InfoWars. Gematria of 42. 42. Think about what the name of that show is. InfoWars. Again, the military runs the world. The word war has gematria of 42. So does World War. 42. And for more, Alex Jones, he's born on February 11th, which is the 42nd day of the year. 31 days in January, 11 more in February, 42. I put out a video on what was supposedly his 42nd birthday. Alex Jones is clearly older than it says he is. This isn't his real birthday. This is all part of his contrived media agenda. It's probably not his real name, not his real birthday. All contrived for his media personality. Just like Anderson Cooper, just like the rest of these people in the media. It's true for all of them. The name Alex has gematria of 42. And the name Alex Jones sums to 33. Use the S exception. That makes S 10 instead of 1. Alex Jones is also 42. And again, these are the numbers of Freemasonry. Freemason 42. You see? Let's come back and look at the name Alex Jones some more. 48. Notice Freemason's 48. In Hebrew and in English, Freemason equals 48. Back to Alex Jones. What else is here? 105 as well as 33. Look at Masonry. 33 and 105. Notice Zionism is also 105. Alex Jones, Zionist agent shill, misdirecting people from the truth. What else is here? 138. That's a big number to the federal government, and Alex Jones is absolutely a federal agent. Think about how he's become, the biggest lapdog out there for Donald Trump. It's not coincidental. Anybody about truth with a brain can see right through Donald Trump. Donald Trump, over in Israel for Jerusalem Day. The one they call the first Jewish president, who's had all of his children of age marry into wealthy Jewish families. So Alex Jones, major agent, major liar, major deceiver, steering people away from actual truth. He always says the globalists, the globalists. That's just a vague term. That doesn't tell you anything. The people who run the show are all Zionist Jews. And yes, they have people of all religions, all faiths that work for them. They're their minions. But the people in charge of the show are the Zionist Jews. Look at this. Alex Jones became famous, largely because he snuck into, what's that place just north of San Francisco where the elite go to? And how do you think he got in there? But he also became famous because of September 11th. And, to not speak against Israel in regards to 9/11 is just to be completely ignorant. Tisha B'Av is to remember the destruction of the 2 temples that were supposedly destroyed on the same day in history. The 9th of Av. Notice Tisha B'Av in Jewish gematria is 9/11. Jihadists equals 911. Al-Qaeda terrorist attack, 9/11. Wasn't a coincidence that this attack happened on September 11th and led to 911 being the national emergency dialing code. The 2 temples were Solomon's Temple, 58, and Herod's Temple, also 58. And Solomon's Temple, extremely important to Freemasonry, 58. Freemasonry is 59 in Hebrew and in English as well. A lot of overlap with English and Hebrew. Secret Society, 58. If we pull out our S exception here, look at Twin Towers. Twin Towers, 58. You see? United States, 58. Washington, 58. Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th presidential selection, who announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower, who for Inauguration Day hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray. And where was he on Jerusalem Day? He was in Jerusalem, 58, where Solomon's Temple and Herod's Temple were. Notice Alex Jones sticking up for Israel while this whole thing is going on with the capital being moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which it was done by Israel a long time ago, but now being recognized by America. They did this December 5th, the day that leaves 26 days left in the year, capital 26. You see? Capital 26. And here, let me just get the base ciphers up here. Reset this. Pay attention. Jerusalem, 139, has a USA right in the middle, right? America, 139. Freemasonry, 139. Jewish state, 139. Why do you think America pays the bill for Israel? Their people don't work. We pay for them to live. In the Talmud, it says that somebody who's not Jewish, and Alex Jones should be all over this, Mr. Truth Researcher, Mr. Big Christian. Notice a lot of these public Christians are the biggest lapdogs for Israel. They act like the Talmud doesn't exist. In the Talmud, it says that if you're not a Jew, you're an animal. The purpose of your existence is to slave so that the Jew doesn't have to work. What do you think's going on? All of us being taxed, everywhere. And where's our money going to? No, it's not going back into our communities. We're not seeing any benefit from all the taxes we pay. A lot of it's going over to Israel. We pay for Israel, the Jewish state. See? And notice again, Jerusalem 104, 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 equals 104. They built the new One World Trade Center 104 stories tall, and they made it 1,776 feet tall. And think about it. Solomon's temple and Herod's temple in Jerusalem. Think about it. Notice Jerusalem with the USA in the middle, also 32, just like America. You see? Watch that show, Westworld. People who exist for somebody else's purpose. Alex Jones, who do you think pays for him? Who do you think pays for him to put out the disinfo? InfoWars. The purpose of his show is to distort information, to take people looking for truth and send them in the wrong direction, preaching all the same nonsense the mainstream media does. At the end of the day, there's no difference between Alex Jones and the mainstream media. Fear, confusion, lies, deception, preaching on about the liberal agenda. You guys, what's the liberal agenda? What are the liberals doing? There are no liberals. You guys start talking about liberals and then you start saying people like Hillary Clinton. How's Hillary Clinton a liberal? She's a war hawk. She's for militarism. She's for corporate bailouts. What's liberal about her? Do you guys even know what the word liberal means? The word liberal means open to change. The word conservative means more of the same. You want more of the same in America? America's always been the same thing. A Jewish state, a slave state, a military state. You want more of the same? Conservatives, that's what it means. You want more of the same. There are no liberals. You know? You guys think liberalism means wanting a welfare state. It's just all the way things have been explained to you. It's all bullshit. You know, Alex Jones always throwing out the name George Soros. Look at the whole truth community. It's like the only name you guys know is George Soros, and you all learned it from Alex Jones. I don't know shit about George Soros, really. He's one of these billionaire investors, supposedly. The one thing I can tell you about George Soros is he does own a propaganda news network, but all news is propaganda, and the one he owns is the best. It's Democracy Now! Yeah, it's full of shit half the time, but even still, out of all the propaganda news networks, they put out the best information. It's not all lies, and at least sometimes Democracy Now! They expose, government and corporate tyranny. Can't say that about really any other of these fake news outlets. Breitbart, all this stuff's fake. Propaganda. George Soros, George Soros, George Soros. You guys are all just repeating what you hear from Alex Jones. Now listen here to Alex Jones explain.
I'm pragmatically trying to look at this, but then the anti-Israel crowd doesn't do themselves any favors in that they're not fair or reasonable or accurate about what they say about people in the coverage of Israel. It's kind of like liberals. Accept their ideology or you're a Nazi.
I mean, this is Alex Jones. He just talks out of his ass. Israel. What's good to say about Israel? Can anyone come up with anything good to say about Israel? Israel, the biggest violators of the Geneva Conventions. Israel, a murder state. A nation that just straight up murders people. What does Israel do that's positive for the world? What? Name one thing positive about Israel. You got Netanyahu, war hawk. Do you guys know where the term war on terror came from? Came from Ehud Barak, who was the former prime minister and military or defense minister for Israel. He was their prime minister and their defense minister. The day after September 11th, he went on U.S. media and he said the United States of America needs to declare a war on terrorism. Meanwhile, what else was in the news at that time? That men were arrested. Men were arrested in New Jersey from Israel who admitted that they were here to document the attacks of September 11th, meaning that people in Israel had foreknowledge. Israel, majorly connected to September 11th. Alex Jones says it was the work of the globalists. See, he's just like, he's telling you nothing. Who are the globalists? They're not anybody. But then the people who they are, he defends them. You see? This is the work of a bullshitter. This is the work of somebody who knows that there's people out there looking for truth, and he wants to confuse them and mislead them. That's who Alex Jones is. And then he starts ranting about how it's the liberals. There are no fucking liberals, okay? The nation's the world is a big right-wing agenda. The right wing is the military. The military runs everything, you know? Cynthia McKinney, she was considered a liberal. She was up to it, you know? Cynthia McKinney, she called out everything wrong. The unjust wars, the illegal wars, the Patriot Act. There's an actual liberal. She wanted some change. She wanted to put an end to the charade. You know? All of you who just want to be conservatives, you guys are fucking retards. Okay? That's what conservative actually means. It means fucking retard. I want to get fucked in my ass some more. That's what it means. Conservative. Cross that word out, it means goyim idiot. You guys don't even know what liberal means. There are no liberals. They're extinct. I don't think they ever existed. Some boogeyman that was created. Whole Democratic Party. They're the fake Republicans. They're the wannabe Republicans. They're not the liberals. You know, Barack Obama. Democratic president. You had a Democratic Congress. You had a Democratic Senate. What did they do? They didn't do jack shit. They did the same thing the Republicans were doing, who were holding everything before. They're not liberals. That's what I hate about the conservative retards. They own everything. They own the whole media. They own every radio airwave, and they're always making it seem like there's some liberal boogeyman out there that's just ruining everything. It's the liberals. Alex Jones starts talking about defending Israel and throws in the word liberals. Let's let him harp on here for a second more.
Accept our ideology or you're a Israeli shill. Accept our ideology. And all these groups want to bully you that we're going to call you this big power name. We're going to call you an Israeli shill that supposedly has all this power if you don't do what we want. Well, then I am an Israeli shill. There you go. It's not true. Never been to Israel. But if it makes you feel powerful, if that takes your power word away, I'll do it.
So, straw man argument. I never been to Israel. How could I be an Israeli shill? I mean, bullshit. You don't have to go to Israel to serve their agenda, which Alex Jones does. Alex Jones supporting Donald Trump, who is an Israeli agent. You know, that makes you an Israeli shill. You're going to serve the puppet Donald Trump, you know, who seems to only care about Tom Brady, the Patriots, and Jerusalem, you know, and building a wall, keeping out all those Mexicans. People are just so dumb, you know. You look at all the trolls and the things they say in my comments, just dumb people. They don't know when to shut the fuck up. So proud that they were in the military. I'll get my military buddies to come kick your ass. Yeah, I bet you will. Fucking cowards. All these internet tough guys. I don't mince words. If you're my age and you join the military, you're a fucking retard. I was 18 when September 11th happened. The summer before that, I went through the same shit all of you did. Military recruiters calling 1,000,000 times a day. I had to go into the military recruiting offices and tell them all to shut the fuck up, stop calling my number. I'd never join for the New World Order mercenary force. I knew where I lived even before 9/11 happened. Nation that only goes to war with brown people. Always killing brown people. Police that are after brown people. I grew up in a brown neighborhood. Always knowing what the United States of America was. Never been a fan of it. Not for a day. Never been a conservative wanting more of this piece of shit nation. Doesn't make me a liberal either, because that word's tarnished. But I've always been for changing this place, which is the definition of liberal. So if there ever was a true liberal, you might be looking at it. Doesn't mean I want a welfare state. What I really am is an anarchist, because I don't even want government. I don't want anyone telling me how to live my life. Or that I don't need somebody else out there to keep me safe. I know how to protect myself. All of you who mouth off and say you'd whoop my ass, I hope you show up at my book tour and mouth off in person. Give you some news. I never lost a fight in my life. Been jumped by multiple people and it wasn't me who got hurt. All these internet tough guys. I'll back it up in person. This nation, man, it's so gone. The people in this nation are so gone. You know, they're just so fucking dumb. They can't learn from anything. They can't see who their enemy is. Y'all are programmed. And you know by who? Alex Jones and the rest of the media. Until next time.